Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Baldwin. This is their part number 1013 030-05205. You'll note the 221 is a different part number. I think that's because they'll use this 1013-221 where we have 030 in that space, which is the finish. They'll use that with different finishes of locks, an 031, an 030, an 003. They'll use the same screws, so they probably say, well, if the lock is these finishes, you use the 221. I think that explains why that's different. So what is this? This is a Screws Armor Front package of 2. So these are the 2 little tiny screws that without these, you're not going to completely finish your lock installation. And while the lock will work, it won't be correctly installed or completely installed or safely installed. The overall length of this armor front screw is 0.207. The diameter, this is going to be an 832 thread. 0.16 diameter. The OD of the head of the screw, just for the sake of recording that, 0.305. 0.305. That's what's called a flat undercut head. I'll show you that on the photographs in a moment. You're going to use this when you're holding the armor front onto the lock case. So you have a mortise lock. Let's now imagine that the year is 1905. You have a mortise lock. The thickness of that rectangular faceplate, that 7 1/4 by 7/8 wide faceplate, that could be about 1/4 inch. And that's because that was the piece that everything was attached to. That was the piece that everything breached through, like the holes for screws or the screws that hold the cylinders, the latch, the deadbolt, things of that nature. Well, at some point in the early 20th century, they went from that solid design to a armor front design, where you've got a thinner, unfinished piece of metal that the lock, material is attached to, and then decorative plate that goes over that. Well, that decorative plate, that would be about 8 by 1 1/4, 8 inch by 1 1/4. That's called the armor front. The mere purpose of the armor front is to conceal access to the screws that hold the cylinder, or cylinders, or thumb turn, whatever it might be, a mortise thumb turn. Because if I can get an instrument in there and change the screws, loosen those, I can take the cylinder and unthread that, and then I can stick my finger in there after I've removed the cylinder and operate the lock. So that armor front covers that up. It's going to be pretty difficult to be able to unscrew the armor front screws, get the armor front off, because you won't be able to, because the latch is sticking through it. So it protects access to those screws, and that's what it's for. It's also pretty handy because it will allow you to have nice finishes on the end of your mortise lock, where if you're in a city like New York or Chicago or Detroit, where you'll see these old locks, Philadelphia, those were just some sort of a wrought, well, I don't know that they were wrought, just unfinished steel, black, things of that nature. Let's switch to the screen view now, and let's take a closer look at some supporting information. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here is the item that we are looking at. Let's take a look at some photos that we have. There's the package. There are the screws themselves. Very short, very small. Little close-up view. Now what I'm illustrating here is the undercut nature of the screw. An undercut head on a screw will allow you to install a flathead screw down onto a material thickness that is so thin that if it was not undercut, you would not be able to install a flathead screw and have it flush, because if it was flathead, it would have continued like that. But when they undercut it, you'll be able to get this installed onto something that's much thinner. If this material is, 0.05 inch, and if it was a standard, thickness, you'd really be dealing with that whole thickness from here to here. And the screw wouldn't sit flat, because your undercut area here, your flathead area underneath here would be forcing the screw to not be flush. Anyway, that's why it's undercut. Phillips, number 2 Phillips. I recommend very good precision screwdrivers when doing any finish hardware work. You don't want to strip out any screws. They're costly to get your hands on them. You know, I have my opinions on that, and we will leave that for that discussion for a different time. Now, let's take a look at the extended description information. Not much here. Screws Armor Front Pkg 2. There's a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page. When you click on that, you'll be able to pull up not only all of the Baldwin products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation as seen here, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the current product catalog and several past product catalogs of note. There's one here from 1976, so if you want to see what Baldwin was making 45 years ago, or whenever you're seeing this video, here it is. You can still buy that Plymouth-style trim today. Neat little trip back in time, that's to be sure. That 5022 pull handle ring, which is here, that's been discontinued. That's no longer available. I think some of this crystal material is discontinued as well. Exceptional quality material. Baldwin is a manufacturer of of very high quality finished builder's hardware in the true sense of tradition, how it was done a very long time ago. Excellent technical support over there as well. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. In conclusion, it's not unusual to need armor front screws. In fact, if you do any sort of service work, I would recommend that you always have some in a kit, because it can be the difference of leaving the job on time or having to come back the next morning for a couple of very small screws. That's my opinion about that. They're easy to lose is the bottom line. They're easy to strip out as well. You know, I'd probably keep some. I do. And you can use them for any lock manufacturer. In fact, they are not dependent on, you know, whether it be a Baldwin or a Sargent or a Yale or a Schlage. It's an 832 flat undercut head armor front screw. If you have any questions on the Baldwin 1013.030.05205, they're sold per pair. This client happened to actually order 4 pair of these screws. Any questions on this or any other Baldwin product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.